Today, we're talking about the best coaching build in CFB 26 for big school programs. I've spent weeks doing tests, trying different builds, and seeing what works and what doesn't for 3, 4, and 5-star programs. What I discovered will completely change how you approach coaching builds, and this may just give you the edge you need in your online dynasty. In this video, I'll give you my complete coaching build and the exact path to get there. Alright guys, here's the thing about coaching elite programs. Recruiting isn't going to be your biggest challenge. If you're using smart recruiting strategies, have decent school grades, and you're winning games, you're going to land talent no matter what. The 4 and 5-star recruits, they will come to your program. Your real challenge is player development. Taking those recruits from 70 or 80 overall and turning them into 90 plus overall difference makers. That's what separates good programs from championship programs. If you waste your coaching points on the wrong upgrades, you'll watch those 5-star recruits stay average for their entire career. Here's the strategy for big school programs. We're starting with recruiter. Now I know this seems counterintuitive since we just said recruiting isn't your main challenge, but here's why we need to do this. We're not really using recruiter for its recruiting benefits. We need to spend 50 points here to unlock our real target, talent developer. Think of this as a strategic investment to get to the development abilities that will turn your recruits into superstars. I don't love the recruiter archetype this year because they put a lot of the overpowered recruiting upgrades in the CEO or elite recruiter archetypes instead, but we need to spend 50 points in recruiter in order to go where we need to go. You can spend your 50 points however you'd like, but here's where I like to spend mine. I like to upgrade Tier 1 scouting at 5 positions, that's 40 points total. Tier 1 reduces the hours needed to scout a recruit. I definitely like adding this to quarterback, but then the other 4 are totally up to you. In my experience, I like recruiting running backs and wide receivers for speed, so I like to scout them in order to see how fast they are. After I do this, I'll then upgrade Tier 2 and Tier 3 for quarterback to get to Portal King. That's 16 more points. There's nothing worse than your senior quarterback leaving, you striking out in the portal, and then you're stuck with a true freshman or quarterback. Portal King at least gives you a bit of a safety net to land a solid transfer quarterback. That puts us at 56 points spent in recruiter, so we've met the 50-point threshold. Once we do this, and reach level 10, we can move on to our next step, Motivator. It costs 20 points to unlock Motivator, and then we'll need to spend an additional 30 points here to meet our 50-point threshold. Similar to Recruiter, I don't love the Motivator coach archetype this year, but you need it for Talent Developer. The first tier, Reach Your Potential, used to be very powerful due to a glitch. However, EA recently patched that glitch, and it's a lot less effective now. This is why I don't really put too much stock in glitches or hacks, because EA might release a patch that fixes them, and then you've wasted coaching points. Now with that being said, you can spend these points however you want. I like to get tiers 1 through 2 for my skill positions, especially quarterback and wide receiver. Tier 2 is Hot Hand. This allows players to stay hot through timeouts, quarter changes, and across games. I don't find this makes a huge difference, but it does give you a slight edge in gameplay, especially at your skill positions, where every clutch pass and every big catch matters in close games. Once I've done this, I'll have reached the 50-point threshold. Here's the math, 20 points to unlock Motivator, plus 4 upgrades at 8 points each, that equals 32 points. 20 plus 32 equals 52. Some of you might be asking about Tier 3 Motivator, the off-season boost. It was really good last season, but I haven't seen a big impact this year. The boost is very small, and in my opinion, not worth the points. After you have 50 points in Recruiter and 50 points in Motivator, work on unlocking Talent Developer. The key here is you need 2 first-round draft picks. This is tougher for smaller schools, but if you're someone like Alabama, you'll likely get this after year 1. If you don't have 2 first-round draft picks yet, just save your points. Talent Developer upgrades are expensive, 12 points each. Once you unlock it though, here's your upgrade path. Tier 1, Pay It Forward. This gives bonus XP when someone at your position is drafted. Upgrade all these positions except kicker and punter. Prioritize the positions you know will have players drafted during the upcoming draft, so you get that XP bonus sooner rather than later. Tier 2 is Whisperer. This helps freshmen and sophomore players progress faster. Get this for all positions except kicker and punter. Then go on to Tier 3, Star Maker. This helps your starters gain XP faster. And yep, you guessed it, upgrade all these positions except kicker and punter. When I ran tests with these upgrades, these produce the biggest skill point increases during the off-season training results. And I love that Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3 all build off each other. For example, if your senior quarterback gets drafted and your freshman or sophomore steps in to start the next season, they'll get 3 stacked XP bonuses. And we're not doing Tier 4 because what comes next, I believe, is better. But before we move on to the next steps, I know some of you may be wondering, if we're focusing on talent development, why aren't we going for Architect with this build? Well, in my test, Architect is not as effective with player development as Talent Developer, so I'm skipping it altogether. It seems to give players random big jumps and off-season skill points, but it's not very consistent. The only time I consider Architect is if I'm consistently hitting skill caps with players. It's got a tier 3 upgrade called Limitless, chance to increase a random skill cap when leveling up. However, the downside is that 1, it's not a guarantee, it only increases the chances, and 2, you can't pick the skill cap to upgrade, it's randomly selected. For that reason, I don't think it's worth the price. Okay, so once we max out tiers 1 through 3 in Talent Developer, we've got 3 paths. If you've won 2 national championships, go for CEO. Or if you've won 1 championship and feel confident about winning a second soon, save up for CEO. CEO upgrades are expensive, 16 points each. My favorites are Gains Getter and Senior Superlatives for player development, Dream School, Lasting Impression, More the Merrier, and Last Dance for recruiting. If you haven't won a national championship and you're far from CEO, unlock Program Builder instead. Focus on Relationship Builder first, then Strong Roots. These give a big boost to your pipeline and provide you with better recruiting classes. I like these pipeline upgrades better than Tier 4 in Talent Developer. The third path, if you've signed 2 top 5 recruiting classes and haven't won a national championship, you can go the Elite Recruiter route instead of Program Builder. Work down to Tier 4 for all positions. If you can get to Tier 4 increased weekly recruiting hours, that upgrade is going to be a whole lot better than any recruiting upgrade you'd get in Program Builder. The key here though is evaluating your situation every season, checking your needs, and coming up with a strategy every year. If you need to change direction, this gives you clear paths toward better recruiting or talent development. Keep in mind, other users are upgrading their coaching abilities as well. So if you dominate recruiting the first few years, then fall behind in year 4 or 5 because some coaches have unlocked Elite Recruiter, you may need to pivot. This build gives you clear pathways to pivot and retool as needed. So there you have it, the coaching build that will dominate with bigger schools in CFB 26. The complete path is Recruiter to Motivator to Talent Developer to CEO/Program Builder/Elite Recruiter. The key is being patient and stacking upgrades that work together. Don't spread points around randomly. If you want to download this guide for reference, the link is in the video description below. Let me know in the comments though, which coaching build is your favorite? And stay tuned in the next few days. I'll release my favorite coaching build for smaller schools. Thanks for watching. I'll see you then.